Commercial vessels should complete a survey of the hull in a dry dock twice within a 5-year period and an intermediate survey within 36 months at the earliest. The dry dock is an opportunity for inspection and maintenance of the hull, propeller, rudder, and other parts which are immersed in water and are generally inaccessible by the crew when the vessel is sailing. The bottom of passenger vessels should be inspected annually. 2 such inspections in a period of 5 years must be carried out in dry dock, and the maximum interval between these inspections should be 3 years. A dry dock is a structured area where the construction, repairs, and maintenance of merchant vessels and boats are carried out. This unique construction or arrangement allows water to be filled up in an area, also known as a lock, so vessels can be maneuvered in and out of the area. Once the vessel enters the dry dock, the gates are closed, and the seawater is drained out so that the hull and other parts of the ship, which have been exposed to seawater for a long time, are exposed for maintenance and repair work. The construction of the hull is checked for damage, including visible damage and thickness testing. Dry docking also allows for high-pressure washing, blasting, and hull painting. Some components of the ship cannot be seen underwater. Dry docking allows for repairs to take place that would otherwise require underwater welding with advanced machinery or other more complicated maintenance and repair methods. Vessel stability components are typically made of iron and may corrode over time with use. Dry docking is a safe opportunity to maintain or replace essential equipment. It is a chance to remove the anchor cables and clean both the cable and the chain locker. The shackle markings can also be repainted. Different types of dry docks are used for repairing and cleaning vessels. The main ones are graving dock, floating dock, marine rail dock, ship lifts, and marine mobile lifts. Marine mobile lifts and ship lifts are mainly used for small vessels such as recreational yachts, tugs, and pilot boats. Graving docks are normally constructed on land near coastal waters. It is rectangular and made of solid concrete, with blocks, walls, and gates. The vessel is shifted inside the dry dock and rested on the blocks. After the ship is in the required position, the gate is closed, and water is removed. In the past, the graving dry docks were constructed using stones and timber. Now, a steel and concrete enclosure is used, and a heavy steel gate is used to seal the dock to stop water ingress once the ship is standing on the blocks. A floating dock is in the form of a U-structure, mainly used in salvage to carry ships that have met with an accident and are damaged to an extent that has made them unable to sail further to a coastal dock. However, many regular seagoing, small, and mid-size vessels are now dry docking in floating docks. The ship is brought near the channel, where the floating dry dock will partly submerge itself, and the ship slides inside the dock. Once the ship is in position, the floating dock is deballasted to drain the water from its hollow floors and walls, which support the vessel on the blocks arranged on the dock's floor. For leaving the floating dock, a valve is provided that can be opened to fill up the chambers with water and immerse the dock so that the ship can sail out. When selecting the type of dry dock for the boat, the company should consider the following factors: the size of the vessel. The graving dock accommodates larger sizes. If a boat or small yacht needs repair in the dock, a mobile marine lift can be used. Also, the condition of the vessel is considered in dry dock selection. If the vessel propulsion plant is not working or some damages can make a boat immobilized, floating docks are commonly used. The types of repair should be considered. The choice of dry dock type also depends on the type of repair the boat wants to undergo. For the regular scheduled dry dock, a floating dock can be used. However, if there is major retrofitting or massive parts or machine fitting is required, the graving dock is chosen as it is easy to move the material from land to dock as compared to the floating dock. And finally, the most critical factor in selecting the type of dry dock is the budget allotted to the vessel. The blocks inside the dry dock play a critical role in taking the vessel's load and distributing it among the blocks placed below the keel plates. The boatmaster and the dry dock master must understand the blocking plan for the particular vessel and how the boat will behave under load when resting on the blocks, including various factors that can affect the load a block takes. The most common materials used for the blocks are concrete with steel, timber blocks, and timber on top and concrete at the bottom. Apart from the keel blocks, side blocks are also arranged to support the ship. They are less stiffer than the keel blocks, as a stiffer side block will overload the vessel and may damage the structure. The height of the side blocks is usually similar or more than that of the keel blocks. Important factors which affect the loading on the dry docking blocks are the initial height of the block. The block's height is a critical factor, as the load on the individual block will be determined by the load shared by all the other blocks. If the placement and height of the blocks are according to the ship's hull, the load distribution will be even. The contact area of the block, the material of the block, as stated earlier, different materials will react differently to the load exerted by the ship. The placement of the blocks in the dry dock need to be arranged according to the ship's docking plan. Many types of equipment and parts can get damaged if the block position is not altered. For example, echo sounders and anodes. Blocks need to be removed so that these equipment can be accessed when the ship rests on them. The longer a vessel spends dry docked, the higher the docking fees. The scope of maintenance or repairs determines repair yard costs. Other expenses associated with dry docking include the costs of an agent, surveyors, stores, repair and maintenance, and necessary spares. While some costs are unavoidable, operations managers and boatmasters can find ways to manage the cost of safe operation and regulatory compliance. Recent advancements in technology allow for faster and more thorough non-destructive testing and robotic scanning. Getting the most accurate idea of the likely scope of maintenance or repairs as quickly as possible can reduce the amount of time a ship spends docked and out of commission. Once the company selects the type of dry dock, the next step is to prepare the ship to enter the dry dock and carefully place the ship's keel on the blocks provided on the dry dock floor. Some important points to note are, make sure the ship is prepared to enter the dry dock by having the least ballast and no cargo carried on board. If the floating dock is used, the ship's movement will depend on the docking master's requirements and the vessel's condition. If the vessel is immobilized due to an accident, the floating dock will move towards it, and if the vessel is functioning correctly, it may propel inside the dock. Once the ship enters the dry dock, it is moored to the dock.